You are watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. This is the Advocare Invitational, the 12th installment here at Disney's Wide World of Sports in Orlando. The Missouri Tigers of the Southeastern Conference getting ready to take on the 49ers of Long Beach State. Hello and welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to one and to all. Mike Morgan alongside the coach, Tim Welsh. Coach, happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too as well, partner.
Looking forward to a great day and a great week of hoops here, Feast Week. Unbelievable time of year, 46 games across the ESPN networks in the next 2 days, and we've got a great one to start things off. Missouri has been in the news for a lot of reasons. Number one, they are an upstart program, great recruiting class, new coach in Cuonzo Martin, but the bad news was Michael Porter, the number 2 recruit in the nation, out for the year. How do they come back from that?
Well, they've got a lot of other pieces, and Cuonzo Martin, I'll point back to his press conference when he got the job. He said, I'm not into rebuilds. I'm into winning now and getting it done. So he's got a lot of guys to go along with missing Porter, and they can fill in, including his brother, Jonte Porter, and Jeremiah Tillman, 2 really good-looking freshmen.
The starting 5, again, it was the number 11 recruiting class. So even without Michael Porter, a lot of talented, including a very talented freshman in the post, number 23, Jeremiah Tillman, an outstanding freshman. Long Beach State, meanwhile, is led by an outstanding junior by the name of Gabe Levin, number 0, coming off a 23-point, 11-rebound performance against West Virginia. They have got some talent at Long Beach State, and Munson doing a terrific job. And we are underway, the first of several games here in Orlando, and the first of 46 games in the next 2 days on the ESPN networks. Let the feast begin. Sit back, enjoy some turkey and some hoops. Missouri in black with the basketball. That's Barnett up top. Leads it off for Blake Harris, a freshman point guard who's been playing more minutes of late. Purrier, the veteran, back out to Robertson with 4 on the shot clock. Cassius Robertson, the transfer from Canisius. And a shot clock violation, a turnover as he throws it at the feet of Tillman.
Well, point well taken from yesterday's workout. Dan Munson was in these guys' faces early and often about being tough, aggressive, getting on the floor, and playing right in the face of Missouri and battling them up front with their toughness and their length.
Tim, what are we looking at with Long Beach State? How do they combat the length of Mizzou?
Well, they're going to have to space the floor and run things through number 0, Levin, because he's a guy that can play at any level. West Virginia, he really did a great job of bringing the ball up against their pressure. They're going to put him in at the high post to kind of run things off Levin.
Shot clock down to 6. Here is Levin with 2 to shoot. Going to have to hoist it here quickly at the buzzer, launching, missing, and knocked out of bounds. It will be Missouri basketball. So 2 rough possessions to start off the game. Dan Munson, when you think of him, you still have to think of what he did at Gonzaga in so many ways, put that program on the map, and then, of course, went to Minnesota. And now in his 11th year, boy, time flies. Coach Munson has been at Long Beach 11 years. That certainly snuck up on me.
Once again wins the award as the most insane coach in college basketball for his scheduling every year. But listen, his team, the scheduling has paid off for his club every year pretty much. Last year they were devastated with injuries, and he's kind of had to revamp his whole program. And this year he's pulled the scheduling back a little bit, and I think this team has a chance.
Cuonzo Martin, no stranger to the state of Missouri, grew up in East St. Louis, and no stranger to the SEC. Led the Volunteers of Tennessee to a Sweet 16 a few years ago. Made his way to Mizzou from his last coaching stop at Cal. Missouri comes in with a 3-1 record. 1 loss coming to Utah. Barnett wants it down low to Purrier. There's a wide-open track to the basket along the baseline. A thunderous slam by Barnett.
Well, that's what Cuonzo Martin would like Jordan Barnett to do more of, is attack the 10. And what he does, he has that ability to catch and shoot, but you see his power on the baseline. A very nice look here over the top by Blake Harris, and that's why Harris is in the lineup. He is more of a natural point guard, and that's what Missouri needs. They need some good point guard play, space in the floor, and a nice screen on the backside by Tillman.
That was a coach's box warning on Cuonzo Martin, and hey, I mean, Tim, you guys got an extra 10 feet to deal with. It went from 28 to 38 feet, still not enough. It's a steal by Mizzou. Into the hands of Harris, operating the point guard spot. Takes it strong and misses wildly. There's 11 for the Carol. Open 3 on the way. Missed it short. Puryear rips down the rebound. Missouri, a team, a mixture of freshmen and veterans. Veterans that were a part of some losing seasons the last few years. And Cuonzo telling us that's something that he has to do, is change the culture. Make those guys believe they can win.
The fans believe they can win, and you were there on opening night. Just a sold-out building on campus where they really have struggled attendance-wise and interest-wise the last few years, but Cuonzo's got them back on the map early.
It is night and day right now, the vibe in Columbia, Mizzou about hoops again. A great basketball atmosphere when they've got something to cheer about. 15-footer on the way. Boy, Long Beach can't buy one here early on.
Well, we talked about it in the open, and I really like that when a coach comes in and takes over a job, and when a coach gets fired before you, there's issues. So he understands that, but he says, we want to win now, and that's why he's got Blake Harris in the lineup as a freshman. You see his quickness as a point guard.
An and one for the young man out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Harris making his mark early, and again, you see that on the backside, Jeremiah Tillman setting that little rub screen to take away the help as Mason Riggins was trying to get over the backside and protect the rim, but Harris found that angle all the way in.
As a young man who was also a top 100 recruit, originally signed with the Huskies of Washington. Father Bernardo played 9 years in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers, 2 Super Bowls with Green Bay. Long Beach, meanwhile, 0 for 4, having a lot of trouble getting a good look. It's another tough shot, but this time it is buried by Brian Alberts, who is a transfer from Gonzaga. He was here a year ago when Gonzaga won this event.
That's one thing Alberts can do. He can create for himself off the bounce. Nice little mid-range shot.
3 off the mark by Robertson. Here comes Long Beach in transition. There's a block from behind by Jonte Porter, the brother of Michael. And this shot, Harris, full throttle into front court. No numbers. Geist on a runner, rejected, erased by Mason Riggins, the 6'8 junior. Here come the 49ers the other way. Another rejection out of bounds.
Well, if you think the offense is a little disjointed, you are correct, but it's mainly caused by a lot of aggressive defense, a lot of active hands, long athletes, and sticking with the play. And against Missouri, you must space the court, take your time, and wait for them to make a mistake because they attack you from a lot of different spots on the floor.
Jordan Barnett on the second block. Long Beach has missed 7 of its first 8 shots. Make it 8 of 9. Porter on the rebound. And there's a blatant hold in the backcourt by Jordan Roberts of Long Beach. And that'll bring us to our first media timeout. 15:54 to go first half. It's the Tigers up by 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. To learn more about the comprehensive offering of nutritional products, go to advocare.com. Gildan, love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan, every thread counts. And ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex at Walt Disney World Resort. The ultimate sports experience for athletes, families, coaches, and fans.
When kids get really excited about my children's books, that's the best reaction.
I know things about great white sharks.
What's great about Paint 3D, it's exciting to see a shark come to life and come off the page. With the Windows 10 PC, to be able to draw right on the screen and create something three-dimensional is amazing. It's exciting to turn it and light it and have these different effects. With my Mac, I can't do that. When you see that the work creates a feeling in a kid, it feels great. And it's addictive. You want to keep doing it, you know?
This was a couple of weeks ago in a very exciting electric atmosphere in Columbia, the season opener for the Tigers. That is Michael Porter. He checks himself out of the game in the first minute. comes back in the game, gets a stick back, his only bucket of the season, and then sat on the bench the rest of the game with ice right around that lower back hip area. And, of course, later finding out this week that he would have to have surgery and likely out for the season. What do you miss of Michael Porter? Well, you miss the number 2 recruit in the ESPN 100, the number 2 prospect in the NBA draft. Only playing 2 minutes all season long. The last top 10 recruit to attend college and play less than 15 games as a freshman, Kyrie Irving of Duke. Of course, that worked out fairly well. Good news for Missouri is Jontay Porter is healthy, also a pretty highly recruited player, a little bit of a different player. Michael Porter, really a shooting savant. Jontay, nice shot, but he'll work the post a little bit more.
Well, good to hear that Michael Porter's surgery was a success, and looks like he's on the road to recovery. In the meantime, Cuonzo Martin's not going to talk about it. He's got a group here that can win, and you see them. They're pretty connected right now on both ends of the floor, playing very tough defense, but also spacing the court and really running good offense.
There's Van Leer on the triple. They'd love to get his confidence going. Had a rough sophomore campaign. Levin, tough pass through traffic. Baseline jumper, that might have been partially blocked by Jontay Porter. Geist to Barnett inside, and Porter misses wildly. It will be Long Beach basketball.
That's where Jontay Porter's got to take his time. He did a nice job of rim running. As the trailer, they found him down low. He's got the good hands, good feet, but he's just got to take his time, make sure he gets that ball up on the rim.
Reed Nico whistled for the foul, 6'10 sophomore. Now, if you're Long Beach, you can't ask for a worse start to this game. A couple of turnovers and a 1 for 10 performance from the field.
Well, there's no doubt they have to get Gabe Levin involved. Not scoring-wise, but they've got to make run through him, get some touches, get him the ball at the high post area, let him attract the second defender and get other people open on the weak side.
And that is an offensive foul drawn by Van Leer. Jordan Roberts a little bit too aggressive on the drive, his second foul.
Well, this is a freshman being a freshman. At 6'9", Roberts has that ability to put it on the floor, but you've got to have some space and an angle to get the ball on the floor against a veteran defensive team that's going to step in there, take the hit.
Geist up top. Porter to Van Leer. 8 on the shot clock. Porter out of a double. They work it around the horn. Great ball movement. Sets up the 3 from Robertson. And then another turnover. And a 2-on-0 break. And an easy slam for the Canadian, Cassius Robertson, the transfer from Canisius.
The cardinal sin, don't throw it backwards on a fast break unless you're dribble handoff or with a direct pass. And that time, Long Beach just way too loose with the ball.
Long Beach just looks befuddled on offense. That's going to be a walk. Happy feet on display by Jordan Griffin.
That's what we were talking about, Mike. I mean, in transition, you've got to look ahead and look for guys like Levin and just a loose pass at the top. And Missouri is attacking the passing lanes with a vengeance.
That is the 4th turnover for Long Beach State. 1 of 10 from the field and 3 consecutive turnovers. Missouri almost gave it right back. Squirts out to Robertson. Courier, lob pass to Tillman and pushed in the lower back. 2 hands in the lower back. They'll call it every time. That's going to be on Brian Alberts. His first foul. Team foul number 5 on the 49ers.
Semi Youssef in the game now. He's an important piece for Long Beach. Now about 6 weeks with that knee injury. Got to get him back in the flow.
That's a triple from straight away by Jordan Geist and a much-needed timeout called for by Dan Munson.
They're just trying to find their niche right now. They switched to a zone, but Missouri is just attacking with precision.
Ravens, Monday, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN.
16 teams.
This is incredible!
2 brackets. And it all comes down to 2 championship games on one blockbuster night. The PK80 Championship Games tip Sunday at 8:30 on ESPN.
Well, how about a little college football? Tomorrow we'll have number 2, undefeated Miami, when they take on Pittsburgh at noon Eastern on ABC to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. So after you get your Black Friday shopping done, sit back and watch the game with a nice big plate of leftovers. That's the Canes and the Panthers. If you don't think that Pitt can train wreck a season, remember West Virginia a few years ago looked like they were going to play for a national title. They ran into Pitt. Miami will try to avoid the same pitfall. Meanwhile, Long Beach State has had a pitfall of their own. They just cannot get anything going from the field or handling the basketball so far, Coach.
Well, but going back to your world, football, how about the job Mark Richt's done at Miami?
Outstanding.
Just stepped right in there and established his program early.
One of the better guys in college football, and there's a first 3 hit by Long Beach. That's Jordan Griffin on the triple. He actually came into this game shooting 50% from downtown. Mizzou trying to find the crease in the zone. There it is, Puryear. Walked. He thought he was fouled, but traveled afterwards.
Good job by Long Beach on the dig down. Deshaun Booker kind of caused that turnover by digging down from the top. And Long Beach looks pretty pesky. Their problem was on the offensive end just to get into any flow. They need to try to space the floor, set a few more screens away from the ball to open some things up on the weak side for their shooters.
3 ball on the way. Tough shot. And there to cradle the rebound is Tillman. And a foul called on Tillman. Did he swing the elbow? Made contact with Temi Yusuf. Oh, yeah. It might have been a little bit of acting.
Going to go to the dreaded monitor review here early.
You love those, right?
Well, when necessary.
Right.
They're obviously can be a positive, but listen, it is what it is. You called the foul, let's play on. But this has been a problem for Jeremiah Tillman early in his freshman season, is getting into foul trouble. And the local Mizzou fans don't appreciate the replay on the big screen. But you see Yusuf, and he's so important for Dan Munson. You know, he's got to give him some minutes here in this tournament just to kind of get him into a flow. And obviously, he's going to be a guy in their conference that's going to have to be doubled, and that's what they'll go through him. And you put him on the low box, and you put Levin at the high post, and Long Beach is going to have something if they get some decent guard play. And I think they're looking to see if this is a flagrant, but and I don't think that warrants that. It was hardly a foul.
Oh, this is interesting. We're told not only are they not going to call a flagrant foul on the play on Jeremiah Tillman, but because they detected a flop on the Long Beach State player, Temi Yusuf, they could call a technical foul. We get the explanation here from one of the officials. That's Trey Stiens, joined by Clyde Owens and Doug Sermons. We'll relay that specific ruling to you momentarily, but you could tell an unhappy Dan Munson with the call, and obviously that's what it's going to be. A technical foul on Temi Yusuf for flopping. This is a rule that really was born in the NBA and now has made its way to the college game.
Well, at least you don't get fined in college for that. But
That's true.
Dan Munson doesn't want to hear that. I mean, you call the offensive foul, and obviously you cannot take the foul call off the board. Once you call the foul, you can't go to the monitor and take the foul call away, but you can do this, and you can call a flop. And I would have to say that's a good call.
And definitely some acting involved.
And that's why before you blow your whistle, you better make sure that it's not a flop and just let the play flow. But it happens. It's early in the year for the officials as well.
It's a big year for officials. 26 approved rule changes. That is the most in a couple of decades. So we're all getting accustomed to some of the new intricacies in the rule book this year.
Yeah, we've seen a couple. We've seen the coaching box and a little flopping going on, and Dan Munson's not happy. I don't blame him either. I mean, you teach your team to take the body, sell the call, and he sold it, and then he got penalized for it.
Long Beach, a couple of shots at close range. Can't connect. They work it around. Baseline drive, reverse layup. Nifty shot, but he can't get it to drop. Gabe Levin off to a cold start. Here comes Mizzou.
That's a good drive by Levin. I thought he should have went up on ball side and just powered it right at the rim to draw the foul.
Tillman, bullish in the lane, and gets the jump hook shot to drop.
You see why Missouri staff likes this guy, and they just need to keep him on the floor. He'll learn to stay on the floor, but he's got those moves around the basket.
Byers on a triple. No. Offensive rebound stolen away. Ahead of the pack. Taking it to the rack is Blake Harris, the freshman, and he'll go to the free throw line. 6'10" freshman Jeremiah Tillman.
Well, it's hard to teach these moves. You've got to have good footwork and a polished finishing ability at the rim.
Don't miss the Audi 2017 MLS Cup playoffs. November 30th on ESPN, it's Seattle versus Houston at 10:30 Eastern.
The College Football Playoff Selection Show, December 3rd at noon on ESPN.
Battle for Atlantis coming up. You saw Jalen Brunson of Villanova. Jay Wright's got another talented squad in the Big East, and they'll take on the Tennessee Volunteers, pulling off one of the surprises yesterday with an upset win, knocking off top 25 Purdue. Rick Barnes and company trying to pull off another upset at 12:30 Eastern time on ESPN. NC State, Northern Iowa, 3 o'clock on ESPN2. Again, it's all part of Feast Week. 46 games today and tomorrow on the ESPN networks. If you love college hoops, where else are you going to be?
How about the losers bracket over there in Atlantis? You got Arizona, you got Purdue, you got SMU, and just a loaded tournament as well, but just a great job by Tennessee. Grant Williams, big game in the overtime win over Purdue, and NC State, Kevin Keats, early surprise over Arizona.
Grant Williams, pound for pound, is one of the toughest guys in college basketball. Plays like he's 7 feet. He goes about 6'4", 6'5". Long Beach State trying to find a little magic here. 2 of 16 from the field, 4 turnovers. That'll help. A bucket down low by K.J. Byers.
Well, better patience on that offensive set by Long Beach. Spacing the floor, making Missouri pay with their pressure going back door.
Nice tip slithering inside is Tillman.
And Tillman, you can see what Conzo Martin likes in this young man. Just keep him on the floor and he makes things happen.
And that's the guy Long Beach needs to get going, Gabe Levin.
Well, in the last couple of possessions, Long Beach has slowed down on the offensive end. And Missouri's defense makes you speed up a little bit, but a little more spacing, a little more confidence by Long Beach.
Porter on the jumper. Jonte Porter, silky smooth stroke, just like his brother. Very good form.
He just takes his time from that high post area, and he and Tillman will be a tough out in the SEC as they grow and mature as freshmen.
Mizzou zoning up, and that's going to be a double dribble by Gabe Levin, who looks a little bit frustrated here early on.
Well, you can see Missouri's loading up on him, and there's no doubt about it. You know, they're putting a long athlete on him. Porter's been on him. Tillman's been on him. His size is really bothering him, but you see Jonte Porter, his ability at the high post just to knock shots down, just smooth little jumper. He can step out, and I saw the game you had earlier in the year. He can step out and make threes as well.
And both brothers, for guys that are in that 6'10" range, really good shooters. Mizzou trying to dissect with 4 on the shot clock. And Harris just throws it over the backboard.
Now it's a little bit of a freshman play right there by Blake Harris. And you can see he's got that quickness and that ability to knife his way into the lane. But when he feels the defensive pressure coming from the backside, he's got to be ready to deliver to one of the bigs.
There is Michael Porter Sr., the father of the Porter brothers, assistant coach for Mizzou. Wife Lisa Porter. 8 children. Couple play women's basketball. Porter brothers for Missouri men's basketball. All vegetarians. Admire the discipline, especially this time of year.
You didn't perform any of that discipline last night at the banquet, Mr. Morgan, with all that turkey you consumed.
A double plater, not going to lie. Great job at the banquet last night by everybody putting on the event here at Orlando. And there's Jonte with another triple.
Oh, turkey last night for him. He's light on his feet today from downtown.
Under 9 minutes to go. Missouri up big. The boys from the Big West Conference, the 49ers. And there's 11 taking it strong at the rack and getting fouled in the process.
Well, here's Cuonzo Martin's teams at its best. Just grit, put your nose on the basketball, and then find the big man at the top.
I can only imagine, people talk about the challenge of playing for your dad, or in this case, your dad's kind of sits on the staff for Jonte Porter. But how about, your whole life, you've been a really good player, and Jonte is a really good player. But Michael has gotten a lot of the attention. I mean, that's all we heard about in terms of the spotlight in the recruiting process. And then at the start of this season, there are a lot of teams that would love to have Jonte Porter in their starting lineup.
There's no doubt about it. He seems to have handled it very well. He plays with a nice pace out there on the floor, and he further understands how to play at this level.
There's Jonte again.
Although he looks pretty polished already.
7 early points for Jonte Porter. The book on him when he arrived is that he needed to get into better shape. Michael was ahead of him physically.
Well, all you need to go through is a training camp with Cuonzo Martin, and you're going to get yourself in shape, or else you're not going to be on the floor, that's for sure. And early and often, Missouri has used all spots on the floor to attack the zone and the man, that time off the mid-post area, right in the middle of the lane.
Levin pushed on the shot. He'll go to the line. Kevin Puryear a little bit too handsy on the defense. If Long Beach is going to make a game of this, the man at the free throw line is going to have to play huge. Gabe Levin averaging nearly 15 and 10 for the year, 23 points, 11 rebounds against West Virginia. Coach Dan Munson told us this is a guy that can play anywhere.
Well, he can, and you saw what he did against West Virginia. Not only put the points on the board and the rebounds, but against West Virginia's vaunted press, he basically brought it up 8 to 10 times on his own and broke the pressure. And to give Missouri's defense a ton of credit. And right now, this length is really bothering Gabe Levin. He's playing against Porter. He's playing against Tillman at both 6'10", 6'11", and then when he puts the ball on the deck, he sees another long athlete coming at him. So he needs some help out there, and that'll free him up.
Near the 8-minute mark, Missouri on top, 27-13. Opening game here at the 12th annual Advocare Invitational here in Orlando at Disney World. Last year's champion Gonzaga won it for the 3rd time. That is the 8th team foul on Long Beach. So a trip to the free throw line for Kevin Puryear. And don't be surprised at Kevin Puryear at the free throw line. was one of the top players in the country last year at drawing fouls. He's one of those guys that has a knack. That's something that's really hard to coach, isn't it?
It is, but you've got to instill that in all of your players, that they have to have a mix and match to their game. And talking to Cuonzo, that's what he wants, not only Puryear, which he does a great job of getting in the line already this year, but Cassius Robinson is he's a spot-up shooter, but he needs him to be a driver, and especially Jordan Barnett. He's a guy who can really catch and shoot, but you see his ability to attack on the baseline could be special.
I think sometimes when you look at the kind of season Missouri had last year, just 8 wins on the season, some people just assume, well, they really didn't have any talent. But that's not true. Guys like Kevin Puryear and Jordan Barnett, we haven't seen Terrence Phillips much today, but he's a veteran guard. They already had some guys. They just needed a couple of more to make this a complete squad, and they certainly have that now. 3 on a kick-out pass, an air ball, but a whistle down low, and that's going to be a foul on Missouri as Yusuf hits the deck.
Michael Porter's not here, but his brother is picking up the pace, finishing at the rim with soft hands.
It's cross-conference chaos of the best kind. The Big Ten ACC Challenge starts Monday.
Don't miss the Audi 2017 MLS Cup playoffs. November 30th on ESPN, it's Seattle versus Houston at 10:30 Eastern.
They say you don't choose the app. The app chooses you. It can stream the games and shows that I love, and it's there whenever I need it.
Mizzou has been good on offense, and they have played some suffocating defense so far.
Well, when Cuonzo Martin played for the great Gene Keady at Purdue, this is what he was known for. Hard-nosed, stick-it-in-your-face defense, and this is what he's done early at Missouri. And I'm very surprised that this early in the season they played with this type of toughness and effective type defense, where they just are playing very, very well, communicating, attacking the ball, and rotating from the weak side. And there you see the double.
There's a travel, another turnover on Long Beach. You mentioned the connection with Coach Gene Keady, Cuonzo Martin. We were talking with Cuonzo yesterday after practice, and he showed us his phone. He said, look, got a text message just the other day from Gene Keady. They stay in touch. Cuonzo Martin considers him a mentor, a friend, an inspirational force in his life. Cuonzo himself is a great story from Lincoln High School in East St. Louis. Tough background, has worked his way becoming a college basketball coach and had a great career thus far as Van Leer misfires on the tray.
There's no better guy to learn the game from than Gene Keady, in my opinion. And I'm sure he's watching this, very proud of the defense early.
Lid still on the basket for Long Beach from long range. Just 1 of 9 from downtown. Porter finds Puryear down low. Clear for K.J. Byers, the 6'7 junior out of Charlotte. Under 6.5 to go first half, a half that's been dominated by Mizzou. Geist almost had a steal. He does. Van Leer scoops it up. Porter streaking ahead of the pack. They missed him.
Well, Timmy Yusuf, you still trying to get into a rhythm. He's been out for a while. This is his first game back and trying to dribble in traffic.
Geist on a take, bumping bodies. And a trip to the free throw line for the 6'2 junior out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, you and I were talking before the game today, and I do a lot of games in the SEC. Third foul on Yusuf for Long Beach. Missouri is such a good program with a lot of tradition going back to Coach Norm Stewart. Several NCAA tournaments, Elite Eight appearances. You could make the argument they're one of the best programs to not make a Final Four. They've been close. The last few years, so difficult for that program, and to call games there, and the arena half empty, if not more. It was tough. I mean, those are great fans that love the game of college basketball, and now to see them with something to be excited about it's exciting for Mizzou.
Well, Conzo Martin kind of fits the bill of the, talk about Gene Cady, but another tough guy who was a tremendous coach, Norm Stewart. He's in that mold, and that's what they want in Missouri, that hard-nosed, tough, in-your-face defense.
3 in transition off the block. Cassius Robertson. That's why they brought him in from Canisius. He is a three-point demon. He shot 41% at Canisius from downtown.
Well, Missouri, you know, they have a lot of answers on the front line. Their 3, 4, 5 seem to be fine, but the 1 and the 2, are they going to get good, solid point guard play, and are they going to have guys that can make plays in transition? And Porter, just with that length, bothersome. And then in transition, the good fine driving kick to Robertson.
6-0 run for Mizzou and a 20-point lead with 5:41 to go in the first half. Goes back to what we talked about at the top. Conzo Martin was very quick to point out, hey, we got a lot of other guys other than Michael Porter. We got a really good team here. You see the resume. Started off at Missouri State. Tennessee led them to the Sweet 16 his final year. Jumped ship to go to Cal. Coached one Jaylen Brown at Cal, now starring for the Boston Celtics. 49ers trying to get a little momentum here in the final 5 minutes and change in the first half. 3 on the way. Got it. And that is just what the doctor ordered. That is Adon Majuni, a freshman out of Finland.
The problem, though, for Long Beach is Missouri seems to be a step ahead of them on both ends of the floor. Missouri's been attacking Levin with that double. That time he does a pretty good job of not letting the double dictate his offense.
Foul was on Nico, his second. Team foul number 6 on Missouri with 5:04 to go. Nico will take a seat on the bench. Missouri team has so many bodies they can throw at you, particularly big bodies. Pump fake and a drive and another block by Jonte Porter. In transition all the way is Harris with the left hand.
Tremendous defense by Porter, but really bad decision-making by Long Beach. Trying to take the ball into the teeth of that defense. You've got to be ready to pass it when you drive in there.
7 points for the freshman Harris, and then a response on the other end for Long Beach. And a travel on Mizzou, so Long Beach will get it right back.
Well, that was a good drive by Ogalu on the baseline. He finally found a little bit of space, but coming into the middle of the floor, you know you're not going to get all the way to the rim. You've got to be ready to drive past your man and then kick it to a teammate.
A couple of freshmen connecting on that exchange, and here's the same freshman combo. It's Porter to Harris. And Harris will find Porter into the corner. It's Robertson on a 3. That'll be a foul on Mizzou, a clear-out foul. I believe they got Puryear.
Missouri, what they're doing in transition, they're really spacing the court. They're first big down the floor, runs to the rim, and then they've got Porter as the trailer. He's got such nice skill. You've got to come out and play him from the perimeter. But that time, nice ball fake and ball reversal. Found Robertson open, couldn't knock it down, but they'll score a lot of points if they keep pushing it and get good guard play.
Gabe Levin on a 1-and-1. Levin from Oak Park, Illinois. Long Beach State from the Big West Conference. Certainly they can use their geography to their advantage in recruiting. That's not a bad place to be, is it?
No, Dan Munson's really settled in there in his 11th year. And very fortunate to have a guy his stature running the program. I think they're going to have a good season, and he just wants to get through this early part of the year where they all obviously always play a very difficult schedule. It's going to be a tough weekend here, but I think once they get all their pieces in place and start learning how to play with each other, they're going to be fine in conference.
Porter shot pops out of bounds to Long Beach. By the way, officially, Jonte Porter in this first half, 4 blocked shots.
He's done a good job on both ends of the floor, and I'm so impressed with his basketball IQ, understanding, a little cut off the middle of the lane, the ability to make passes as the trailer, and also obviously knock down shots.
And a break zone with Missouri up by 15. Another walk. Mashuni with the turnover. Mizzou up by 15 here in Orlando.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter. And the United States Marine Corps.
The Audi 2017 MLS Cup Playoffs, November 30th on ESPN.
Oh, no. We're going to go to a single shot here of my...
Oh, you call it.
Freeze that.
You call
freeze
it.
that.
Stop
Freeze it. Look at, my neck is hanging over my collar. Do I have a snack under the table?
Mike Morgan and Tim Welsh back here in Orlando. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. The 12th annual Advocare Invitational. We take a look at the bracket coming up after this ball game. We'll have St. John's led by Chris Mullen and the Beavers of Oregon State. That'll be on ESPNU at 2 o'clock. And in the evening session, UCF 7'6" Taco Fall battles Nebraska, and top 25 West Virginia battles Marist. You want to make an early prediction on this, as I put you on the spot?
Well, as you look at Missouri, I think they're going to have to be a team that's reckoned with in this tournament. There's no doubt about it. And, Missouri, if you have Missouri and a St. John's, an interesting matchup moving forward. But Oregon State certainly has a lot of scores. But I really like St. John's, what they've done early in the season. I like their guard play, like the additions of their transfers, Simon and Clark from Arizona and Michigan State. And then, of course, West Virginia with their pressure, Dexter Miles. Javon Carter are really tough out. It's hard to prepare for them in a short tournament with all their pressure as well.
No question. I would invite you folks that tuning in for the next game, remember the name Shamori Pons, sighting guard for St. John's. He could put on a show in this tournament. Little scrum near the baseline, and that will remain Long Beach basketball with 16 on the shot clock. Last year it was Gonzaga. We had a great final. Gonzaga, Iowa State in a classic. Florida was here as well. They, of course, nearly made the Final Four. Gonzaga finally did make the Final Four. There are the Bulldogs. The year before that, it was Xavier cutting down the nets here in Orlando. Always a great event. Good fields. People want to come here and play. Good fan support normally. Not a bad place to be during the Thanksgiving holidays. It's another turnover on Long Beach. They just continue to mount. That's 9. Van Leer on a tray. Left it short. Top floor for the rebound is Riggins.
Watching Long Beach, they are trying to dribble a lot, and then that's just a horrendous shot in transition. They're not open, and they're not running any offense right now.
Very carefree with the basketball. Not a good combination. Cassius left it short, but another offensive rebound. Jordan Geist knifing in. Ten turnovers and just 6 field goals for the 49ers in this first half, and that is tough to beat anybody with those numbers.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the pressure of Missouri, their length, their ability to get up into the passing lanes, get up into your vision, their active hands. But some of it's self-inflicted right now because Long Beach, they're trying to dribble way too much. And if you're going to run a dribble drive offense, you've got to have some spacing. About 2 out of every 3 possessions, Mike, they've got 4, sometimes 5 players on the same side of the court, and there's just no room to roam.
Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, we'll revisit the Arizona loss to North Carolina State. Kentucky with another victory. That young team, the youngest for Coach Cal, defeating Fort Wayne. And Tennessee, led by Rick Barnes, with an overtime thriller, knocking off top 25 Purdue. Tennessee's predicted to be 13th in a very deep SEC this year. Probably the deepest in about 10 years.
Well, the SEC is on the rise. There's no doubt about it the last few years. Just the commitment, the ability to hire high-level coaches, and I think they had enough of people taking shots at them, and they've kind of figured it out.
That's a great point. They certainly took a verbal beating for a while. The league did when it was down. But there's no question there is a commitment level from the 14 institutions to not just be good in college football, but college basketball as well. Alberts knocks down the first, the former Gonzaga Bulldog. Of course, the PK 80 presented by State Farm. That is the motion bracket. 4:30, you'll see Duke taking on Portland State. Speaking of talented freshmen, how about Marvin Bagley? He is a beast.
I have your permission, Mike. I'm going to take a quick nap after the afternoon sessions and then come back here and then we'll stay up late tonight to watch a little of this. This is going to be fun from Portland, and what a tremendous idea to honor the great Phil Knight.
Permission has been granted. Kick out pass, great ball movement. Missouri finds an open shooter, and that's a guy that can get hot in a hurry. Cullen Van Leer trying to ignite.
Well, when you and I talked to Cuonzo Martin yesterday, he said guard play, guard play, guard play, and he's getting real good guard play this afternoon because there's space in the floor, sharing the basketball, and knocking down shots.
That is not a good shot, and that's the difference. Missouri getting open threes, Long Beach forcing threes.
Now, Jeff Van Gundy likes to say the NBA is a make or miss league, but college basketball is who gets the best shots wins, and that's what's happening right now.
Under a minute to go, first half. Robertson. Inside Porter. Kick out Van Leer, feeling it, but that time got blocked by Levin. Got it back inside, and there's Porter. Missed the bunny, got it back. Porter again. Yes, with an and one.
Well, this is what you call Cuonzo Martin effort. And this will get Mr. Porter an extra piece of turkey later this afternoon because this is a second and third effort. While Long Beach is watching, Jontay Porter is working.
9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks for the freshman Jontay Porter out of Nathan Hale High School in Washington. Paul Biancardi was quick to point out to me when he played his high school ball, they went undefeated. They took on all comers. That was not a soft schedule. There's no hidden advantage to their route to the championship. Shot clock at 10, 2-second differential. Levin with 3 to shoot. Levin going to have to just throw up a prayer, an air ball, and that is how half number 1 will come to a close. A half dominated by the Missouri Tigers. 43-21, our halftime score here at the Walt Disney Resort. A lot to be happy about if you're Cuonzo Martin and company. Jontay Porter, the brother of one Michael Porter. Michael's out for the year, but Jontay is healthy and playing some really good basketball here early on in Orlando. Stay tuned for the Land Rover halftime report after the break. Watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. This is the 12th annual Advocare Invitational. Our halftime score of game number 1, it's Missouri leading Long Beach State 43-21. Jontay Porter leading the way for the Tigers. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Mike Morgan, he is the coach, Tim Welsh. And Tim, the headlines all week long for Missouri have been the loss of one Michael Porter. The headline so far of this tournament is his brother, Jontay Porter.
Well, if Jontay Porter keeps playing like this, he's not going to be Michael Porter's little brother. He's going to be the big man on campus at Missouri because he plays with such a nice pace to his game. He trails, he can knock down shots, he knows how to cut to the rim, and he's got that great fluidity for a big man. And then the second and third effort, and notwithstanding the defensive presence as well, off the ball, on the ball, contesting shots, and playing hard today without fouling.
Just a teenager, but it looked like a grown man in that first half. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks. Game just kind of comes easy to Jonte. And quite frankly, it was a rather smooth first half for Missouri overall. A number of players getting in on the act, including Blake Harris, another very talented freshman. He had 7 points, dropped a couple of dimes for that man, Konzo Martin, his first year at Mizzou. We'll see if Long Beach State can cut into that deficit here in the first stanza of half number 2. What do you look for differently at a Long Beach State?
Well, they've got to just change sides of the floor with some spacing. You see Youssef in the starting lineup. They're going to try to go in to him, get him some touches. Maybe we'll free up Levin on the perimeter to make his moves and create.
Alberts with a step back long 2. That's a tough shot. The opening possession for the 49ers.
The ball just stuck on that left-hand side of the floor, and if you do that against a good defensive team, it's going to be very difficult to get open looks.
Little weave action up top for Missouri. Shot clock at 8. Harris navigates. Skip pass a little bit wild. Up top, Barnett on a 3. Kicks off the iron, but there's Purrier, offensive rebound, and there's Barnett on the finish.
That's just a punch in the gut to Long Beach. They did a really good job for 30 seconds, just couldn't secure the rebound. That second effort finished the play. Barnett made him pay.
Missouri has led this game from the opening tip, and that's going to be an offensive foul using that shoulder. Temi Youssef, 6'7", 265-pound junior out of Oakland.
Youssef's game is very, very tough down in the low box, but here he gets pushed off the low box and tries to just pound the ball into the floor. 1, 2, 3 dribble, just that move into the lane. You see the defense just shrink, and that's a bad offensive play by Youssef.
Jeremiah Tillman sold that a little bit too. Missouri has it back. 18:30 to go in this one. Missouri has led from the top and 14 second chance points. Long Beach State has 0. But the 49ers scoop up a turnover here. Alberts on the drive. Levin just was surprised to be so alone. Missed the shot, but there on the fall was Riggins. And what do we have here? Did Coach Munson just get teed? Discussing matters with Doug Sermons.
Something happened with Temi Youssef down there in the corner, and
that's a technical foul on Temi Youssef. Did not see that. Robertson shooting the free throws. Youssef goes to the bench, and that's his 5th foul. Remember, the technical counts as a personal, so their top inside player just fouled out of the game with 18 minutes and change remaining. And now there's the technical foul on Dan Munson. Frustration boiling over from the first half here in the second.
Well, where's the spirit, Mike? Where's the happiness of Thanksgiving? It seems that tensions are building here.
Well, Doug Sermons is giving out technical fouls instead of turkeys and gravy and cranberries. 2 technicals in the first 2 minutes of the second half, and as if the 49ers did not have issues big enough here, that did not help matters.
Well, you see Temi Youssef at the end of the bench. You'll see him right there, and he jumps up and starts barking like he's one of the coaches, and that's a no-no. You can't blame Doug Sermons for that. You can't have the players jumping up and yelling at you.
There's something to yell about. Kevin Purrier on a baseline stuff. This is Purrier's junior year, and I've really liked his game for the first 2 years at Mizzou as he picks up the foul on the block attempt. He was overshadowed because the team was so bad, but he's a good player.
Well, you can see with his size, he knows how to use his body on the baseline, and there he just attacks the angle of Gabe Levin, and Levin's frustration on both ends of the floor.
3rd foul on Purrier. Young man out of Blue Springs, Missouri. He was not one of those super highly touted recruits. was all SEC as a freshman, poured in 30 points, including a buzzer beater, defeating the Auburn Tigers in the SEC tournament last year. Levin knocks down the free throws. He's got 10. And the only 49er in double digits. Nobody else has really been able to provide a spark thus far. Strong take to the basket, an offensive foul.
Gabe Levin, he's not giving up. He's had a lot of frustration on both ends of the floor, but things are starting to open up for Levin a little bit offensively. And here he just slides over, does a good job of getting his body in position and taking one in the face.
That's what you call walling up, and he was outside the cylinder. Couldn't have done it any differently, and then comes back with a turnover, a carry on the perimeter. Poor Dan Munson's got to be wondering, what can we not do wrong in this game?
Well, the one thing usually that Dan Munson knows he can rely on is Gabe Levin, just to go out there and give him his 18 and 10 or 15 and 10 or whatever he's going to do. But the thing is that Missouri from the get-go, their game plan was to load up on him and let somebody else beat us, and that has not happened.
Travel on Jonte Porter. Gonzo Morton says, calm down. Stay in control. And officials now want to make sure shot clock is changed, I believe, to 28 seconds. There it is. Go from 30 to 28. Those are two crucial seconds, Tim Welsh.
I was just wondering if they were checking if their whistles were working. You know they're working. We've heard a lot of whistles early in the first 3 minutes of this half.
I will say this, with all the talk about the way the game is changed in terms of the way it's called, freedom of movement. Bottom line is scoring is up 6 points per team. I think that's something we can all rejoice a little bit. Nice passing on the interior, sets up Byers on a close bucket.
Well, finally, everyone got on the same page. The rules committee, the officials, the coaches, and the players all bought in to the change. And it was a pleasure to watch last season, and let's just hope it continues.
Absolutely. Jonte working that high post. The runner hits the side of the backboard for Robertson. Wide open three from the corner. Byers hits the heel. Harris in transition. Nice pass. Beautiful feed inside, and there to finish it is Jonte Porter.
That's what you have to love about him as a player. He'll come down as a trailer and stop at the top of the key and knock a shot in, but that time he found some room right to the rim and planted himself in front of the basket. Good delivery.
12 points for Porter. Porter working on the defensive end. Batted around into the hands of Van Leer, and it'll be Missouri basketball. A timeout on the floor with 15:26 to go. Missouri efficient offensively and getting a number of guys in on the act.
They've done it with their defense, but this is how you win. Finishing at the rim.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
At Desmond Howard, your famous trophy pose is my screensaver. Hashtag sweet talk, hashtag sweepstakes.
Kirk Herbstreit's best side is his left side and his right. Hashtag sweet talk, hashtag sweepstakes.
Post something nice about your rival with hashtag sweet talk, hashtag sweepstakes for a chance to win a trip to the College Football National Championship.
Now Feast Week continues. The PK80 presented by State Farm. That's the motion bracket. You see Duke, Texas, and Butler, the Florida Gators, taking on Stanford. Gonzaga, who won this event last year here in Orlando, will battle Ohio State. Catch all the action on ESPN, ESPN2, an unbelievable 16-team field out there in Oregon. We got a pretty good 8-team field here in Orlando. Again, today and tomorrow, as part of Feast Week on the ESPN networks. If you like some hoops, we got it for you. 46 games in 2 days. Jontay Porter continues to catch fire, a game-high 15.
Oh, that's just really good offense, though, out of that timeout. Is the pick and pop, the roll and replace on the weak side, and very difficult to defend. You got a 6'11" guy that can do that.
And Levin throws it out of bounds. You can see the frustration right now mounting for Gabe Levin and that man, Dan Hudson.
Watch this, coming off the little dribble handoff, and then the flare screen, and then the pop back to the three-point line by your 6'11" forward slash center slash point forward.
Porter just makes it look effortless, doesn't he?
That's good offense right there. Nice delivery down in the low box to Tillman.
7 on the shot clock for Geist. Porter whips it down low. Geist in the trees. Left it short, tapped around, and picked up by the 49ers. That's Griffin. Shake and bake move, takes it strong, missed it wildly. Van Leer rips down the board.
Good hustle by Griffin. Just couldn't find an angle to the rim. And like the thing that's also really impressive with Jontay Porter is just his point delivery, his bounce passes into the low post when he and Tillman are on the same side of the floor. Usually you put your two bigs in a high-low situation. They put them in kind of a wing-low situation where Tillman can attack off the bounce, throw the ball into the post, or if they dig in on the post, he can knock down that shot.
Nearly 50 scouts in attendance here in Orlando, and no doubt many of them looking at guys like Jontay Porter. Taco Fall of UCF, who you'll see later tonight, is another guy at 7'6" that has scouts very intrigued. Almost a walk there by 11. Albert's weaving, trying to find an open teammate. It's not been easy to do. He's getting a little frisky down low here on Thanksgiving as Geist in the trees brings down the rebound. Really the smallest guy on the floor.
Wow, the perimeter players of Missouri are doing a nice job, not only on the offensive end, but guys like Robertson and Harris and Geist are doing a really good job of pressuring the guards of Gonzaga to make them feel real uncomfortable.
Reach-in foul. KJ Byers, the guilty party, his second.
Dan Munson just trying anything, going into deep into his playbook to try to get back into this game now. Putting on a little full court pressure.
Well, this will be the test for Missouri this year. They're still trying to figure out who their best point guard is. They've tried a couple of different guys, including Cassius Robertson with the ball now. He's really more of a two guard. So is Van Leer. Terrence Phillips we have not seen much of tonight. Or today, I should say. He's a guy that they see him more as a two guard off the bench. And for some reason, he has not played at all. I wonder what the situation is there. Phillips, a junior, normally gets a good amount of minutes.
It's not because of his attitude, because Cuonzo Martin just talked about him at length yesterday to us about he's just kind of an energy factor, energy guy, X factor. He started 2 years, now he comes off the bench. He said he's never had anyone in that type of situation have a better attitude than Terrence Phillips.
Barnett has it blocked from behind. Backdoor cut, and almost a good finish. Levin instead will have to settle for a pair at the free throw line.
Like Jordan Roberts was dribbling his way into Death Valley, but he found a way to get bailed out as Levin did a nice job of cutting backside away from the ball.
That's the fourth foul on Puryear. About the only thing going wrong for Mizzou today is having at least one player in foul trouble. Keep in mind, this Missouri team, I mean, this is hardly a finished product. They get dealt the news that Michael Porter likely out for the season. Okay, he's the number 2 recruit in the nation. That would completely cripple a lot of other teams out there. But they've got this recruiting class, which has Jonte Porter and Blake Harris. They've got a good transfer and Cassius Robertson. And then you have returning guys like Puryear, like Jordan Barnett, like Terrence Phillips. When they start to gel and continue to learn each other's games, Missouri, you would think, would only be a better team, say, a month from now, 2 months from now.
And obviously, Mike, you don't want this to ever happen, but if it's going to happen, it's the better time is now, because now your team is not built around Michael Porter. It's so early in the season. You're coming down here, you're playing these games, and you're going to learn a lot about yourself and get an identity and establish your own team. You're amongst, it was really Michael Porter and company coming in, even though some of these other guys you can see can really play, including the 2 other freshmen, Tillman and Jonte Porter.
There's Harris, whips it in the front court to Geist. Geist weaving into traffic and getting it to go off the window.
Geist is giving him some really good minutes. I like his energy, looked good, putting good pressure on the point guard defensively, but in transition, the ability to knife his way to the rim.
8 points for the junior out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Missouri has not led up from a dominating first half. A rare point in the paint. That's LaRond Williams, his first basket. There have not been many paint touches for the 49ers in this game. Oh, nice pass by Harris, and almost a slam dunk finish. Instead, Reed Nico will have to settle for a pair of free throws, but a beautiful feed from the freshman.
Well, Long Beach is trying to press to get back in this game, but Jordan Geist and company here finding no problem getting all the way to the rim.
At AutoZone, our Fix Finder tool helps you check your engine light on the spot for free. And here's your MyZone health report. A lot of times it's a loose gas cap, but for you, it looks like an O2 sensor.
See?
And if you need a repair shop, we can help with that too.
I guess I didn't have to wait a whole month to get that checked out, huh?
You said it came on yesterday.
It's so many things.
Lesson learned. Let's get you what you need.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
With the Mini Epic Experience Pass, you get more out there. More in here. And here. More memories. More off the grid. More zen. More moments to discover. More of what matters. Right now, get a Mini Epic Experience Pass plus up to $1,500 cash off select 2018 Mini Countryman.
58-31, the opening game of the 12th annual Advocare Invitational. Mike Morgan alongside, well, the man to my right was Tim Welsh. I don't know what happened to the coach.
I'm really questioning my career choice at this point, and hopefully the Welsh kids are watching, because that's all I care about right now.
This could be a career ender, or it could be the start of something big. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Glad to be with you here at the Advocare Invitational. And again, Missouri has made a statement here in this event early on. They have dominated this game from the opening tip. Well, now you have to keep it on the rest of the half, don't you?
If Griffin, Tessa, and Lena Welsh were watching, that's all I care about. Other than that, I hope no one else. They were flipped over to the Villanova game for a minute.
I think that is a Twitter pick waiting to happen if the boys in the truck are all over that.
By the way, I'm a little disappointed. Coach Vitale took the Battle for Atlantis assignment this year instead of coming up to visit us here in warm Orlando. He decided to take his lovely bride over there. But we're having fun here, and a little bit of a blowout early, but we've got some great games ahead of us.
No doubt, including the one that we will have after this. St. John's, Chris Mullen, a 4-0 squad with really good guards, looking to be a potential NCAA team this year out of the Big East. They will take on Oregon State, who made it to the big dance just a couple of years ago.
Oregon State is sneaky good. I think they're going to find themselves. They're going to be competitive in the Pac-12, and they just had such a devastating year last year with all the injuries. Wayne Tinkle just couldn't wait to get to this year, and it'll be an interesting team to watch. And I really like St. John's and what Chris Mullen's done in his 3rd year. They don't have a lot of depth, but they've got a lot of scoring and some exciting guards.
Beavers in the crowd getting ready. That's head coach Wayne Tinkle in his 4th year. He took them to the NCAA tournament in just his 2nd year. They had not been to the NCAA tournament since 1990, when a young man by the name of Gary Payton was leading the way. And Gary's son helped lead the way 2 years ago. But they've got everybody back. They went 1-17 in the Pac-12. They lost 4 of their top 6 players before December the 1st. I mean, it was a nightmare of epic proportions in Corvallis. But now he's got a healthy squad and a good-looking team led by his son, Trace Tinkle. Ball out of bounds. It will be 49ers basketball. That's one of the biggest head coaches in Division I, Wayne Tinkle. A super nice guy, but he could be intimidating if you got him angry.
He gets on his son, and that's why his son's a good player. And obviously this was a tough injury last year, missing out on him. And
there's some of the earbuds.
I was teaching and coaching, and a little scouting early.
Geist tried to find the streaking Jeremiah Tillman, but it will be Long Beach basketball. Doug Sermons with an emphatic call.
Looks Final Four ready. He's reffed in a few Final Fours, but he's on top of his game today. He's been on a lot of loose change calls, but that's what sometimes happens in a game that's kind of disjointed and sloppy. A lot of bodies are all over the place, and the ball just kind of is flying.
That was a punishing screen, and Blake Harris, I can't believe he didn't hit the deck. He ran into a brick wall, never saw him coming. LaRon Williams at 6'9", 205 just decked him. Watch this. And that's an illegal screen, textbook. You see the base of his legs wider than shoulder width apart. Nice take by Harris.
Well, again, we talked about it. A good guard play from Missouri. They don't need special guard play. They just need solid guard play, and that's what Alfonso Martin talked about yesterday. And so far today, so good. Harris has that ability. He really has those long arms, but nice job on the baseline with the floater.
A young man who was originally ticketed to become a Washington Husky. Of course, a coaching change there, and that reopened the recruiting. Decided to head on over to Mizzou. Some more loose change finally picked up by the 49ers. Strong take and a bucket. One of the rare ones today for Deshaun Booker. His first points of the game. Here's Harris streaking, blind pass, and a rejection by Long Beach on Purrier. Purrier thought he had himself an easy dunk.
No, Missouri's done a nice job of getting organized against this Long Beach pressure and pushing the ball up the court and looking to take advantage to go to score.
Has Levin that got a piece of it from behind. Ron Williams was in on the play as well. Tillman bullying his way to the bucket. Hoop in the horn for Jeremiah Tillman, the 6'10 freshman out of East St. Louis.
Well, this is what Missouri's done all day long. They've gone 4 out, 1 in, and they've given guys like Tillman and Porter a lot of space and room to roam to get to the rim. And that time, the power of Tillman evident with the left.
From the same hometown as his head coach, Cuonzo Martin. Pretty touch on the free throw to complete the three-point play. A 30-point lead for Mizzou.
Tillman, one key component for him is he stayed on the floor, hasn't been in deep foul trouble. That's been his issue so far this season, but that's what freshmen do. They foul early, and especially the bigs. It takes them a while to learn when to back off.
Shot clock at 7. Whipped into the corner, setting up the 3. No. And hauled in by Long Beach. Here comes Booker, shake and bake, and draws the reach-in foul on Robertson. A lot of potential matchups. We know what the first round's going to look like. How about a potential Missouri-West Virginia final?
Some physicality in that one, and that's where the guard play of Missouri again would come into play, because you're going to face that 40 minutes of pressure. Bob Huggins' club, they press after makes, misses, turnovers, sideline out of bounds. You have to be ready and prepared on every possession to get trapped.
Long Beach diving for the loose ball. No lack of hustle by the 49ers. They've just been overmatched today. That's a tough shot over the trees and right through the bottom of the net for Booker. Under 8 minutes to go. Geist draws the foul. He'll have a trip to the free throw line when we come back. All Tigers early going.
Hi.
Well, honey, I said sweet potatoes.
Yes, you did. I forgot the shrimp. Shrimp and apple pie.
Dad likes pecan.
Oh, well, in that case, I can.
Love to drive? Visit your Infinity retailer for leases starting at $289 a month during the Start Your Own Legacy winter sales event. Infinity. Empower the drive.
All of your life, you've looked up to your dad. But don't wear your dad's underwear. Gildan is designed for comfort and durability for life in the 21st century. The next generation of underwear. Gildan.
Missouri Tigers looking awfully good. Jonte Porter leading the way thus far for the Tigers, 66-42 over Long Beach State. It's been a long road for Long Beach State. Like a lot of those mid-major schools, you have to pick up some paychecks away from home, and you see they've been road warriors early going. They're coming off 2 games on the road, ironically enough, 2 teams in this field, Oregon State and then at West Virginia. And after that West Virginia game, they actually hopped on the charter. This is something you do not see a lot of schools do, but Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers were kind enough to allow Long Beach State to accompany them on their charter flight here to Orlando. Pretty cool thing, especially for a team that certainly had some jet lag. They have not been home since November the 16th.
I wonder if Huggy let Muntz sit up in the front with him and traded war stories from some of the trips they've taken over the years. But no, that's what Bob Huggins does. He's just a great friend to all coaches. And, again, Long Beach starting to loosen up a little bit. And
nice
right
and one for KJ Myers.
And right now, Dan Munson's obviously trying to get back into this game and win it. It's not over, but he's here to try to get better for 3 days because, everyone knows around the country they probably play one of the toughest schedules, non-conference. He's backed it up a little bit, but he's got to leave here and go to Arizona next week. He still has to go to Michigan State. He's got Stanford at home. So he does have a few home games. So I think he's trying to build for his conference, and I think this team will be good down the road.
Great unselfish play by Mizzou sets up the Robertson 3. One more footnote on that story. Bob Huggins was so generous not only with the travel, he understood Dan Munson was struggling a little bit with this team, a lot of newcomers. He said, look, you want to borrow my weight coach? He'll whip them into shape. And Dan Munson was worried about the fact that you might work him a little bit too hard before going into this event, which could be a little bit grueling, 3 games in 4 days. But as you mentioned, Bob Huggins is a coach's coach. A lot of people don't totally understand Bob Huggins, the person, but he's a really likable guy.
Unless you lose.
Yes.
I wouldn't be in his presence when they lose, and that's why he wins a lot, because he is a competitor, one of the best.
Did you have any battles with Huggy Bear back in the day?
We had a few, yeah, but when the game ended, it was over.
Puryear in the timber, gets it to go. Smooth touch by the junior out of Blue Springs, Missouri.
Well, I expected Missouri to come up and get into the face of Long Beach and use their length and strength up front to their advantage, but offensively very impressed with their smoothness, their ability to space the floor, and their unselfish play as well.
It's a desperation three from deep by Alberts, young man who was here a year ago, has a Final Four ring, in fact, during his time with Gonzaga a year ago. Puryear says, I'll hit you with the left, then I'll hit you with the right hand.
You know, a smooth jump hook down on the box, and we know that Puryear likes to get to the free throw line, and he's showing a lot of different moves, both facing up and with his back to the basket.
8 points for Puryear, who trimmed about 10 pounds off that body from a year ago, in much better shape now. He'll take his night to the bench as he fouls out of the game with 5:35 to go. You know, on one hand, you hate to see a guy foul out, but if you're Cuonzo Martin, at least you know he's giving you all the effort and aggressiveness on the defensive end.
He has, and you know, when you come in as a freshman, we talked about it, it's hard to get acclimated with everything that a coach wants, but the defensive end of the floor is really, really difficult, especially when you have a guy that's so defensive-minded as Cuonzo Martin, and he wants you to play that tough, hard-nosed defense. So obviously you're going to be very, very aggressive, so you have to understand when to back off a little bit, and that will come with experience. That's why these 3 games down here are so important for guys like Porter and Tillman.
Saw Terrence Phillips enter the game for the first time for Mizzou, the KG veteran as a junior. Long Beach dialing up the pressure. Mizzou breaks it, and that'll lead to a Tillman stuff.
Woo. That's some force at the rack.
9 points for Tillman. Missouri dominating the paint in this game. Stick back plus the foul for Byers.
Well, when you look at the post moves of Jeremiah Tillman, this looks like a seasoned veteran, and you see the fake middle, the quick drop step, and the rise up. Jeremiah Tillman plays like that within space. He is going to attract a lot of traps and doubles down in the box.
Under 5 minutes to play. Van Leer, this is Missouri's weave up top, and then Van Leer finds space on a 3. Empty trip. Missouri on the run out. It's Geist with a bucket. And whistle's calling timeout as one of the players from Long Beach hit our table right in front of us, and hopefully did not hit the railing below our table. You can tell a player in pain. This is right in front of our broadcast station, going for the loose ball. That's 22. That's LaRond Williams. And we kind of lost sight of him after he hit the deck and slid, but looks like he might have hit his head on the table. Again, no lack of effort or hustle today by Long Beach State. They've just been overmatched by a much bigger, deeper, and more potent Missouri Tigers squad. And Munson's got to be saying, what else can go wrong in this game? Can we just skip to Friday? And a whistle, and I believe the foul on Reed. Nico.
Well, I spoke to Muntz before the game today, and he said, listen, I like this basketball team. I think we have a chance to be good in our league. We're not ready for this venue yet, but we'll grow up quickly. And so he's going to coach every possession. They're going to go back to the hotel tonight. They're going to break down the tape. They're going to probably practice tomorrow morning and use every minute of these trips to figure it out. Figure out who you are. The coaches want to figure out what they have, what they need, what they might want to change moving forward. And no matter what your record, everyone says, oh, we have to get 2, we have to get 1. Yes, of course you do for the one-loss record, but it's big picture that it's the reason you come to these tournaments.
And realistically, the Big West is a one-bid league more often than not. UC Irvine predicted to win it. They're not so worried about metrics like RPI and numbers like that as you see Van Leer hit one from downtown. They want to be battle-tested. They want to get better. And as you mentioned so often, 3 games here will make you a better basketball team. 49ers to the free throw line when we come back. All Mizzou so far.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. To learn more about the comprehensive offering of nutritional products, go to advocare.com. And Gildan. Love your dad, but don't wear his underwear. Gildan. Every thread counts.
The original Sonic cheeseburger and onion rings for $2.99. The last time we ate this good for $2.99, we were in college.
No, I was in college. You were in denial.
Good school.
Now you compare a cheeseburger or footlong coney with onion rings for $2.99. This is how you...
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash with 16 teams, 2 tournaments, 1 time only. The PK80 starts Thursday.
An unbelievable field over there in Oregon, Portland, North Carolina. Arkansas battles Oklahoma. UConn and the Ducks. Michigan State battling DePaul. That is in the victory bracket. 8 teams in each bracket.
Oklahoma should challenge for the Big 12. They'll be back up this year. And UConn, I like UConn a little bit. They got their pieces back from a year ago. They were injured. Terry Larrier and Alterique Gilbert, along with Jalen Adams. Exciting threesome for Kevin Ollie.
Curious to see what Arkansas will be like. They lose Moses Kingsley, one of the top post players in the SEC last year, but they returned most everybody else. They were an NCAA tournament team, and they almost upset North Carolina, the eventual national champion in the tournament in the early rounds. Final 3 minutes and change of this one. Missouri in good shape to start off this 12th annual Advocare Invitational with a 1-0 start. In transition, left-handed layup for Deshaun Booker.
Now, Long Beach continues to play hard. There's no doubt about that, and that's a credit to their players and Dan Munson just understanding that we got to keep at it because we're going to be back here tomorrow, grinding again against another very good team.
Geist sprinkles in another 3.
Missouri fans are smiling with the performance from the perimeter today.
I mean, if you're getting 16 from Jordan Geist with everybody else they have that has the potential to light it up, that's just icing on the cake.
Well, Cullen Van Leer as well.
Yep.
3 for 7 from the 3. And getting good point guard play from Blake Harris. Moving forward, if they do ever get to the finals against West Virginia, some options to throw out there on the floor. I think that's what's nice about Missouri. They do have a lot of parts that you can move around out there on the floor depending on who you're playing.
How about this for a strong number? Mizzou points off the bench, 41. make it 43 as Van Leer runs a bank shot in to make it 88-57. 11 points for Van Leer. Don't know who's going to win the next game, but we're looking forward to St. John's and Oregon State. The winner of that game will take on the winner here today. Don't forget tonight on SportsCenter at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, following the Egg Bowl. The numbers show that Auburn is in good position to pull off an upset against Alabama, plus an all-access interview with Lane Kiffin of FAU. And we'll explore the Chargers, Cowboys. What are the Cowboys' playoff hopes now with the suspensions and the injuries and everything else going on? Kenny Mayne, Max Bretos on ESPN SportsCenter coming up. Another three. It is raining threes from Mizzou. Terrence Phillips gets in on the act. And the only suspense left in this one is whether or not Mizzou can reach the century mark.
Terrence Phillips has been sitting there for an hour and a half. He just comes in like, no problem. I'll run the offense and knock down shots.
And that's not easy to do, because it's one thing to come off the bench cold. It is particularly cold in this building. It is cold plus. Nothing cold about that slam by Jordan Barnett. An exclamation point.
Missouri really likes to pass the ball to each other. And you know they're going to play hard-nosed defense, but unselfish play.
A reach-in foul on Roberts with 1:02 to go. Double bonus each way. Free throws for the Tigers.
They pass the ball in transition for round one. And when they get an advantage, just the perfect delivery from Harris.
Friendly bounce for the junior out of Oak Hill Academy, Terrence Phillips. And one thing about Long Beach State, Dan Munson, the head coach, told us, he said, for 9 straight years, I've had an all-conference point guard. You know, I don't have that this year, so there's still a work in progress, and I think that clearly was a weakness on display today. It's tough to win in college basketball when you have question marks at that position.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, the game has changed in the last 10 years or so, although Chris Mullen told us that we were playing this way back in the 80s with the Golden State Warriors. You know, the 4-out, the 5-out offense that you see, and really predicated on having really good guards. But today's big men can play like guards as well. But Long Beach, you got to find a way to get Levin more involved as that 4-man. And I think they're going to be fine once they get into conference play and get Youssef back into a rhythm coming off the injury.
That's one of the backups, Adam Wolf, 6'7" walk-on. Foul on Van Leer, which is definitely not necessary with 15 seconds on the clock and a commanding lead for Mizzou. Again, they'll take on the winner of our next game, which will be on ESPNU. That'll be St. John's really talented backcourt led by Shamore Pons and Marcus Levette. Also the transfer from Arizona, Justin Simon, a 6'5" former top 100 recruit. And they'll take on Oregon State, who's healthy now and have a really good scorer in the coach's son, Trace Tinkle.
Stephen and Ethan Thompson, son of assistant coach Stephen Thompson, also really good guards for Oregon State. And Michigan State, Missouri, so impressive from tap to buzzer, Mike, on both ends of the floor, unselfish play offensively and just rock hard defense.
Dominating from the opening tip, Missouri, about as good a game as you can play. A 95-58 final as Mizzou improves to 4-1. Some of your final thoughts on this one, Coach?
Well, Missouri's parts are pretty good, and now they're starting to come together. And if they can get that good guard play like they did today, balance offensive scoring from the perimeter, from the wing, and inside, they're going to be a force in the SEC, and people will sleep on them without Michael Porter, but they have his brother, who's pretty impressive.
He is our Advocare player of the game. Jonte Porter did most of his damage early in this game to set the tone. The freshman with 15 points, 4 blocks, 5 rebounds, made it look easy.
He did, and he did it in a lot of ways. And he's got a great pace to his game. Makes things happen on the perimeter with his jump shot. He's also a very, very good passer and presented himself as a resistor in the middle defensively.
So again, Missouri wins it 95-58. Our final score, the opening game here at the 12th annual Advocare Invitational. Again, Mizzou will play the winner of our next game, St. John's, Oregon State. Coming up later, it's UCF, Nebraska, and West Virginia, Marist. So for the coach, Tim Welsh, Mike Morgan saying so long for now. Mizzou, in dominating fashion, wins the opening game. Coming up next on ESPN2, Marty Smith's America.